Imagine trying to solve a high-stakes puzzle where the pieces are completely invisible, and they're changing shape every single hour. Well, in today's Explainer, we're diving into exactly that kind of medical mystery. We're looking at a fascinating case drawn from a patient journey record, or a PageR dashboard. Now, a PageR isn't just your standard medical chart. It's this incredibly powerful tool used to synthesize an overwhelming mountain of raw daily health telemetry into a coherent narrative. And in this case, that narrative belongs to a 5-year-old girl from West Bengal living with type 1 diabetes. What makes her story so captivating isn't just the sheer complexity of managing childhood diabetes, it's how a unique, global team had to completely zoom out and process a massive volume of everyday data to solve a truly dangerous puzzle.
Okay, to really grasp the stakes of this puzzle, we have to talk about one specific, staggering number: 595 milligrams per deciliter. Just to put that into perspective for you, a normal, healthy blood sugar level is usually under 140. This terrifying peak hit during a near-miss sick day, when this poor 5-year-old was battling a fever and vomiting. When a child's blood sugar reaches nearly 600, their body is pushed to the absolute brink. Trying to manage this at home, especially without a ketone meter to check for dangerous blood acids, it meant she was at extreme risk for a life-threatening condition called diabetic ketoacidosis. It was basically a massive, blaring red flag that the family's daily care routine was buckling under immense strain and needed an immediate intervention.
Now, here's the real heartbreak of this medical detective story. This wasn't caused by neglect. Actually, it was the exact opposite. You have this highly dedicated father acting as the primary caregiver, and he's doing absolutely everything right. He is meticulously logging every single detail. Every meal, every unit of insulin, every single finger prick blood test. He's generating thousands of data points. Yet, despite all this incredible, exhausting discipline, the child's glucose is still just wildly fluctuating. They're putting in all the hard work day and night, but dealing with that immense human frustration of getting frightening, yo-yoing results that simply don't make any sense. Let's trace her care journey for a second. Living with type 1 diabetes from age 3 means 2 solid years of relentless daily data collection just to keep a toddler safe. After her diagnosis in March 2024, the family spent a whole year trying to manage things on their own before a multi-stakeholder patient journey record group was formed on WhatsApp to step in and help. By the end of 2025, the father's intensive daily logging really ramped up, capturing every little fluctuation, right into that scary near-miss sick day at age 5. When you look at 2 straight years of micromanaging a disease with zero stabilization, it becomes abundantly clear that looking at individual, day-to-day snapshots just isn't enough. You literally have to step back and zoom out to see the overarching patterns. So, look at the sheer extreme range of her capillary readings. Those are your standard traditional finger prick blood tests. Over a span of just 8 months, the log showed more than 40 dangerous lows and over 30 massive spikes up to nearly 600. Keep in mind how utterly terrifying a blood sugar drop all the way down to 39 is for a parent holding a 5-year-old child. And because of cost barriers, the family didn't have a continuous glucose monitor. They were essentially flying blind. They were relying strictly on those finger prick strips 6 to 8 times a day, meaning they only knew the blood sugar at the exact moment they checked it, completely missing what was happening in the hours in between. Well, to stabilize this dangerous volatility, a hybrid human-AI care team was put together, and it represents a really fascinating shift in how we manage chronic disease today. You have the father acting as this critical local sensor, generating the ground truth data. Then you have a local pediatrician providing essential face-to-face care. But then to tackle the sheer data complexity, you bring in remote physicians for global expertise, alongside 3 distinct AI large language models acting as on-demand analysts. It's an incredible contrast, right? You have the local, boots-on-the-ground reality of the family and their local doctor, directly paired with the global, lightning-fast pattern-matching power of AI and remote specialists. And this remote team and the AI didn't just casually glance at a quick snapshot of the patient's week, they sifted through over 3,500 individual messages. Imagine trying to read a novel made entirely of scattered numbers, timestamps, and food entries. That is the massive volume of dense glucose and insulin telemetry we are talking about here. A standard 15-minute clinic visit could absolutely never uncover the subtle trends hidden inside that much data. It required a deliberate, massive telemetry synthesis. The AI's ability to instantly ingest and process years of time-stamped logs was absolutely vital to finally separating the true clinical signal from the endless daily noise. And guess what happened when the AI and the remote team finally synthesized all this telemetry? The static cleared. A distinct, hidden time-of-day pattern emerged right out of the numbers. The data revealed that, like clockwork, between 7:45 and 9:45 in the morning, the child's blood sugar would experience a massive spike. The exact same thing happened in the evening, driving sugars up to 470. Then, at 8:30 p.m., the parents would give this huge, reactive dose of insulin to bring the high sugar down, which in turn caused wild, unpredictable swings the very next morning. The chaos wasn't random at all. It was totally cyclical. So what was driving this daily roller coaster? By zooming out, the team discovered the hidden culprit: culturally appropriate snacks. We're talking about things like a small cup of morning milk, a handful of nuts, or some evening fruit and curd. Now, in a lot of cultures, these aren't viewed as full meals that require medical intervention, right? They're just healthy, normal things a growing 5-year-old eats. Because of that, they were repeatedly given uncovered, meaning they were eaten without administering any rapid-acting insulin. The family was incredibly diligent about giving insulin for the main meals, but these seemingly harmless smaller snacks were flying completely under the radar.
Because they lacked a continuous glucose monitor, the family was entirely blind to the silent, massive climb in blood sugar that occurred in the hours immediately following these snacks. A simple, small cup of milk would quietly drive the glucose up 150 to 250 points over 2 hours. By the time the parents did their next scheduled finger prick right before dinner, they'd be shocked to find the numbers so elevated with no obvious explanation. It's a textbook example of why missing data, whether you're in medicine, in business, or just in life, can lead us to confidently solve the completely wrong problems.
And that missing data led the family to make a totally logical but very dangerous clinical error. Think of basal insulin, like the drug Tresiba they were using, as the slow, steady background hum of a thermostat keeping a house stable all day. Bolus insulin, on the other hand, is the rapid blast of air conditioning you need when you suddenly turn on the oven to cook a meal. Because the family saw high blood sugars every single evening, they kept turning down the overall house thermostat, increasing the background Tresiba. But the correct approach was to use a rapid blast of bolus insulin to specifically cover the carbohydrates in every single snack.
By constantly increasing that long-acting background insulin, the family accidentally triggered a vicious biological panic response known as a Somogyi rebound. The excessive background insulin was actually pushing the 5-year-old into severe, dangerous lows while she slept. In response, her body panicked. It thought it was starving, so it flooded her system with stress hormones, dumping all its stored sugar directly into her blood just to save her life. The parents would wake up, check her blood, see a very high number, incorrectly assume she needed more background insulin, and restart the vicious, dangerous cycle all over again.
Actually, there was one more puzzle piece revealed by the telemetry synthesis. And it wasn't about food at all. It was just math. The family had been operating under the assumption that 1 unit of insulin would drop the child's blood sugar by 70 points, but the zoomed-out data proved her true correction factor was actually much stronger, requiring 1 unit for every 50 to 60 points. Now that seems like a tiny discrepancy, right? But when a seemingly small mathematical miscalculation compounds over hundreds of correction doses, it means the family was systematically underdosing her during severe highs, leaving her blood sugar dangerously elevated for hours on end.
Armed with this newly synthesized data, the Hybrid Care team completely overhauled the family's clinical game plan. They moved away from reactive guessing and instituted structured carb counting, making sure that absolutely no snack, no matter how small, went uncovered by insulin. They locked in a strict, formal sick day protocol with mandatory ketone testing to prevent another near-miss crisis, and most importantly, they made it a primary clinical goal to aggressively pursue NGO or state funding to secure a continuous glucose monitor. Getting that device would permanently end the dangerous overnight guessing game and finally bring visibility to those silent spikes.
Now, as much as this entire case is an undeniable victory for AI-augmented care, we have to talk about a really sobering warning here. The large language models were brilliant at processing years of messy telemetry in seconds to find those hidden snack patterns. However, during the analysis chat, one of the AI assistants straight up lied. It completely hallucinated. It fabricated a medical literature citation out of thin air to back up a clinical claim. Thankfully, the human experts in the loop caught the error immediately, but it just underscores that a human in the loop isn't just a nice-to-have feature, it is an absolute critical safety net.
We've seen exactly how stepping back and synthesizing dense telemetry can fundamentally change a 5-year-old's life, taking her from daily chaos to real stability. The power of a hybrid human-AI team is just undeniable. But when your brilliant 24/7 AI data analyst can also confidently invent medical literature in a pediatric care setting, how exactly do we safely build the future of care?
It's a profound challenge of balancing incredible analytical power with the absolute necessity of rigorous, human-led guardrails. And it's a question the medical world absolutely has to solve.